Black Americans are in prison far greater than a percentage of the population. So Black Americans are about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
about half of all prisoners are black.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders, they commit more arsons, they commit more kidnappings. For example, blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders. That's not a war on drugs, that's a culture problem.
Okay.
The reason why I stop it right there is because I want to break down what he said. So he says that black people are 13% of the population. That's actually, correct to some extent. That's number one. Number two, the statistics that he's citing is actually what we call gaslighting statistics, in which he's just throwing out statistics and blah 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 blah. That's not true, and it has proven not to be true several times. Several times it's proven not to be true. And I'm going to show you this. A quick Google search and go into the FBI files. When you go into the FBI files, it will tell you who are committing the most crimes in America. So he said that black people are 13% of the population, yet they're committing 58% of the crimes. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm going to tell you mathematically why it can't make any sense. It can't make any sense because you would have to have at least 58% or 60% of the population in order to be able to commit 58% of the crimes. You will never have enough manpower. You will never have enough manpower to commit all the crime, that amount of crimes with 13% of the populations. You'd have to be in enough places with enough people to do it, and you just don't have the numbers. So that alone on itself falls flat in space. But this is what they do. This is what they do, because to admit wrongdoing would be to admit that they need to make restitution to the wrongdoings that they've done. All right, so let's go to statistics right now. Right, statistics. He says that black people commit 58% of the murders. This is number of murder offenders in the United States in 2023 by race. What does it say right here? Who's at the top? Who is committing the most murders in the United States right now? Who is at the top? Who's at the top? It's not black people. It is not black people. And like I said before, if you are 13% of the population, there is absolutely no way that you will be able to garner the numbers to commit 58% of the crimes. We all know that this system unfairly locks up black men, especially black men, and have been doing it since the 60s. And the reason why they do this is because of their hatred for black people. Now let's move on. Right? We're gonna go up to another fact right now. This is human trafficking percentage. Right? It says of 1,197 defendants charged with any of three types of human trafficking offenses in the fiscal year of 2021, 92% were male, 60% were white, 20%, were black, 16% were Hispanic, and 95% of them were actually US citizens. So if anything that he says is true, how is it that their own people, their FBI, is basically saying that these are the statistics? Shouldn't it say that 92% of them or 58% of them were actually black? They're committing most of the crimes? Where are they committing most of the crimes? Where are black people committing most of the crimes? But this is what they do. Again, as I said before, to admit that they are wrong is to admit that they need to make restitution for the wrongs that they have done. And they will never do that. Right? Let's move on again. This is sexual abuse offenders. 93.6% of sexual abuse offenders were men. 57.5% were white. 16.1% were black. 12.1% were Native American, 11.8% were Hispanic, and 2.5% were other races. If black people are committing the most crimes in America, 50%, as he said, that's why you people need to ask him to cite his sources. So he's running his mouth, his little racist mouth. Oh, black people this, black people that, black people this, black people that. But it says here 57.5% of sexual abusers, offenders were men. And the human traffickers, 90% of them were white. Alright? This is the National Registry of Exonerations. The National Registry of Exonerations. Alright? This week, I'm just getting down to the nitty gritty. 84% were people of color. That's 127 out of 153 exonerated people. 127 out of 153, 84% out of the 153 were people of color. Nearly 61% of exonerees were black. 93 of them were black. While the most frequent factor in their wrongful conviction was official misconduct. 75 homicide cases, 85% of homicide exonerations in 2023 were marred by official misconduct. When these people gaslight, and the reason why they do this is because they like to do this. Because I'm white and I say so. And I've been telling people this all this time. And you have their little the raccoons that like to jump on them bandwagon and be saying, yes, it's true, it's true. It's not true. It's so easy to hate yourself rather than to hate the people who's always been doing you dirt. And I want to go back to one of the original story, Mr. Emmett Till, where his accuser, right, whatever her name was, burn in hell, bitch, lied on the little boy. She asserted that Till had grabbed her and verbally threatened her. In that day and age, when black men and black boys knew that anything they do could be used against them to take their lives. You really want us to believe that a little black boy grabbed you, a grown woman, and threatened you. She said that while she was unable to utter the unprintable word he had used, as one of the defense lawyers put it, he said he had done something with the white woman before. Then she added, I was just scared to death. And it's not uncommon because they've been doing it for years. See, right here, right now, you have this gentleman. He's suing a woman that he had a threesome with because she falsely accused him and his friend of that word. Right? This is what they do. They can't do no better because within them is just pure evil. They can't do any better. They can't do no better. The only thing I have to say to people like that is just prepare yourself. You're going into bondage. You hear? The Most High is going to put you into bondage, and you're going to pay for every single thing that your ancestors have done and every single thing that you have condoned. Anyway, people, enough love and respect. Peace. I am out.